Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kevin Lopez here, bringing you today's AI Roundup. And we have two topics for you today, new OpenAI models and Kling 2.0. We'll start with OpenAI, and it looks like OpenAI just released two new models, O3 and O4-Mini. Both of them have been trained to think longer and are the smartest models released by OpenAI. And since they've been trained to also on tool use from the inception of training, they can now be used agentically, and they combine every tool within ChatGPT. So this includes searching the web, uploading and analyzing uploaded files, reasoning deeply with visual inputs, and even it generates images. So you can use all of that agentically, which is pretty cool. So what is new? Let's see. According to OpenAI, it sets a new state-of-the-art on several benchmarks, just like Codeforces, the MMMU, and SWE-Bench. This model has been trained also to reduce hallucinations. O4-Mini, a smaller one, it's optimized for fast reasoning and outperforms O3-Mini on non-STEM tasks and the data science domain. It also will support higher usage limits due to its higher efficiency, of course. So let's take a look at some of the benchmarks. We can see here that according to the benchmarks, O4-Mini is slightly better than O3 in several of the different competitions. So competition math for both 2024 and 2025 and Codeforces. You can see here that O4-Mini is slightly better, which is interesting. But alternatively, O3 scores higher than O4-Mini at PhD level science questions, expert level questions across subjects, and it also does better than it at multimodal tasks, such as the MMMU, college level visual problems, visual math reasoning, and scientific figure reasoning. And interestingly enough, I suspect it's doing so well in some of these benchmarks because it's a larger model, so it can encapsulate more data. And as a bonus, we can see here that there is a new Codex CLI. So what this is essentially they open sourced and released Codex CLI. It's essentially a small coding agent that runs in your terminal and is designed to access your code locally. And essentially, it's a way for a developer who uses a terminal all the time, like myself, if they want to use a terminal and chat with GPT, along with performing, using it to analyze local files and using its reasoning. It's pretty cool stuff. So let's move on to Kling 2.0. So this is a new release, and actually is a huge improvement over its predecessors. So we can see here a few examples where they give it a prompt where a man laughs happily and then suddenly becomes angry, pounding the table. So we can see with Kling 1.6, right? It doesn't really do what it's supposed to do in the prompt. So there's been a significant improvement to prompt adherence. So we see 2.0 does more closely to what we asked it to do. There's been improvement to motion and allowing for more fluid movements. So we can see here the dinosaur charges the camera with motion blur and camera shaking. So you can see here 1.6 kind of morphs some of the body features. It kind of morphs the arms of the T-Rex, whereas in 2.0 it's much more dynamic. Everything looks a lot more fluid. We can still see some of the deformations, but looks significantly better. And finally, we can see here that it's just more aesthetically pleasing. So we can ask to generate this video where the camera follows the bee as it quickly moves through the flowers, finally focusing on a fresh flower covered in dewdrops. So we can see here, this was Kling 1.6. So let's see that. See the bee kind of coming around and it goes up to this flower. Didn't really look like there was much dew on the flower. So let's take a look at 2.0. So we can see it looks a lot better, almost like a movie. You can see the dewdrops right here, which is pretty fantastic. Now, after talking about all that, let's add a few more interesting examples. So here's one of my favorite examples, which is Dragged by Legends. Really, really interesting stuff. You can see here a few of the celebrities kind of dragging you forward in this kind of like creepy-ish looking background, but we can see here all of the fluid movements of like the hair, the clothing, the expressions, people in the background. It just looks so amazing. You can see here being dragged onto stage. One of the coolest kind of examples I've ever seen. Similarly, is another really interesting example. You can see that it's kind of like a ghost, kind of bringing you across into a cemetery, kind of showing off some of the dynamic movement. Really cool stuff. Here's some more dynamic movement with the caveman getting chased by some Tyrannosaurus Rex. Amazing fluid movement here. We can see kind of like the caveman moving around and the dinosaur like chasing. It just looks almost like a movie. Fascinating. And then finally, we're going to take a look at KlingAI's official video, just kind of showing off some of the things that they've done with the new model. You can see here, different books. You can see this person flying through the sky on a sword. It just looks so cool, almost like out of a scene from Inception or something. One of the coolest demonstrations I've ever seen. And yeah, it's all so fluid. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Catch you in the next video. See ya.